Are you ready to outfit your Outback? Then follow along as we transform this bone stock Outback into this. We've got the 2021 Subaru Outback in the shop, and I want to give you a quick overall synopsis of everything that we're doing because we're going to make this thing stand out from any other Outback on the road. So basically, we're doing wheels, tires, lifts, skids, roof rack, lights, a bunch of stuff. But into the nitty gritty of that, we're using a company called Flat Out Suspension for a full set of coilovers for this. With those coilovers, they're gonna be doing a different custom coil spring for a bunch of extra weight. What weight, you may ask? Well, we're gonna be adding a full winch and skid plate that's gonna, like winch and bumper from Warn. It uses the Axis series of winch, and that's gonna tuck in there pretty nicely with the bumper, like I said, from Warn as well. Underneath, we have a whole bunch of skid plates from a company called Primitive Racing, and they make them specifically for this car. Those guys were awesome to deal with on the phone. It sounds like they do a lot of rally racing where they're from. So hopefully they can come to Pennsylvania soon and do some rally racing up here. We've got a bunch of rock sliders and other parts from LP Adventures. The rock sliders are gonna go on the sides, and then they actually make a pretty cool ditch mount light that's gonna go right there. On the roof, we're gonna be stacking a roof rack from Prinsu, and that thing is gonna be designed to hold a rooftop tent that the customer already has, as well as some lights from Baja Designs. Now we've got these lights that are gonna go here from Baja Designs, but we also have a 40-inch light bar that's gonna get mounted on the roof rack as well. Now in COVID times, these parts have been difficult to get, so planning a build like this has taken a lot of time, from getting all these parts to here to getting it in the shop. So we are excited about making this car happen because it's not often that we get to lift a Subaru Outback in the shop, and we're pumped about it. So a lot of progress has been made in the last couple days. We've got the front bumper on it, and we've got the Warn winch installed. We're gonna get rid of this little hook and install one from Factor 55. They've got a side-by-side one that'll fit this winch perfectly. I am totally digging these skid plates from Primitive Racing. As you can see, the fitment against the skid plate to the bumper is like very, very close. So we've got maybe 3/8 of an inch there of a gap, but I mean, that's awesome. The fit and finish on these things is really incredible. They're all bright finished aluminum. They're louvered. They've got a really cool oil drain access pan door. And we've got this big engine, transmission, and then there's a cover the whole way in the back here for the rear differential. So all of the vitals are protected. I'm really curious to see what kind of adventures this guy's gonna into with this Subaru. We've got the wheels and tires together. We've got the Falken Wildpeak A T3s mounted on the Methods. This is a really popular combo in the Subaru world. These are a 245, 65, 17 and the Wildpeak A T3. Should work out really well. It's a nice aggressive tread, perfect for gravel roads or anything else this thing is gonna do. We're gonna be installing the lift kit tomorrow, and that should make room for the wheels and tires. I'm excited to see this thing on the ground, you know, aren't you? Right now we are working on suspension. We've got it up in the air and we've got the coilovers just unpacked out of the boxes right here. This suspension is made from a company called Flat Out Suspension, and it is called their GR Light kit. As you can see, they've got the coilovers here, and we are simply removing the factory struts and replacing them with this adjustable coilover. Having a coilover like this is kind of nice for a couple reasons. The first thing is that when they assembled these coilovers for us, they used a heavier pound spring. So this is a 350 pound spring, and it's designed to carry some extra weight. As you can see, we installed a roof rack. We'll get into that in a little bit. The customer's gonna have a rooftop tent up there. He's gonna have the back full of a whole bunch of gear. There's a 2-inch receiver on the back because he also pulls an enclosed trailer for camping. So there's a lot of extra weight, and we've got that offset with the coils in here. The other thing that's kind of neat is it's got these adjusters, and you can see it a little bit better on this one here. But this allows us to adjust ride height. There is a certain number of preload that we need to add to this to get it right, and then we can fine tune exact ride height with this. Of course, you can't just set the ride height to whatever you want, or else you'll never get the alignment into spec. So there's definitely a fine line between the right ride height, the right amount of preload, and the correct ride height so that alignment works. So that's what we're working on next. As soon as we get that wrapped up, we're gonna talk a little bit about electrical, lights, and this awesome roof rack. We've got the Overland Outback all wrapped up, and as promised before, I want to talk about electrical, lights, and roof rack. The first thing we're going to talk about is electrical management. Now we've got 2 extra circuits on this vehicle. One for these ditch lights right here that we mounted to the hood with the LP Adventures bracket. The other is for this Baja Designs 40-inch light bar. Those things are controlled by an electrical management system that we've got installed right here. This is made by Switchpros, and as you can see, it's got its own power source, and there's a lot of really neat features. We've got each one of those lights wired to a circuit, and then we've got the rest of the wires here so that if we want to do any other lighting in the future, it's really easy to add. So this is the brains, if you will, of the system. Inside is the switches, and we mounted them at a really pretty clever spot. As you can see right there on the driver left, there are 8 circuits, 8 switches. So maybe the customer wants to add some scene lights on the side or a heavy duty backup light. Whatever he wants to do, he's got 6 additional switches that we can easily wire that stuff up, and we can do it without cutting into any of the factory harnesses, which is pretty cool. The Switchpros comes with all these stickers for customizing. So you can see we've got a grill light bar, we've got sway bar, front rear lockers, all sorts of different things that he can put on. And it's a pretty durable material that will just stick right on there. And it'll be easily identifiable what circuit is what. So we talked about lights. The roof rack is made by Prinsu, and it's pretty awesome, although the install is very intensive. The whole interior roof rack, side panels, all that kind of stuff has to come out. And because you have to actually unbolt the factory roof rack from the inside. We did route the wiring straight through the roof for the light bar, so there's no weird wiring that's exposed anywhere. And we used a really nice grommet for that. So all in all, he's got this big 40-inch light bar, and he's got these ditch lights. he should have a ton of extra light for on the trail or wherever his travels may take. All in all, I think this project turned out awesome. As a quick recap, we did the GR Light coilover suspension. One thing I didn't mention before about that suspension is that it is adjustable in a couple ways. One for dampening, and you see there's a dial here. You can make it soft or hard. The rear coilovers have the same thing, but also if you look at the strut mount plate, you can see that as well, that we can move that strut around so that we get perfect alignment specs. The printouts in the car, we always do that when we do a vehicle build like this, just so we can see exactly what the alignment specs are. But with perfect alignment specs like that, the tire wear is gonna be perfect. These tires and wheels turned out really nice. We used the Falken Wildpeak A T3 and a 245/65/17. It worked pretty well. The one thing that we noticed while driving it, doing a road test, is that under compression, the tire just nips the side of the coilover. So what we're gonna do is just order some 5mm wheel spacers just to widen the track a little bit. I mean, the sidewall was just barely nipping it, but we wanna make sure there's absolutely no rubbing whatsoever. Once we get that installed, the thing will be ready to go. So just a quick recap. We've got the coilovers. Ride height is set about 2.5 inches over stock. We also have the worn front bumper, worn winch, and the Factor 55 Ultrahook. It's got full skid plates underneath, so if he launches it or does any gravel road driving or anything like that, they are all aluminum and will protect this thing from a lot of off-road use. Other than that, we've got tires, wheels, roof rack, lights. The rock sliders are pretty cool. They're from LP Adventures, and they should protect. I really like how they fit. I think they look really good. So all in all, I like the Subaru. I like the sticker on the side, Dad Venture. I'm a dad of 3 little girls. So we do a whole bunch of off-road family adventure trips, and that's what this guy's using this thing for. If you like this video, give us thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know what you think about this thing or your wildest family trip in our comment section. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.